Would you say that one of the big symptoms of a relationship that needs attention and work and communication is sex or lack of?
I think sex is important to a relationship, but not every person values it the same.
Mm.
So it depends on the couple. So not everyone values sex the same way. And it can become difficult if you're in a relationship with someone who values it very high and you value it very low. That's very difficult. But, values do need to be aligned. So not everyone values sex. I mean, there's some couples that are very happy having sex once a month or once a week. And there are some who are like, no, I need to do it multiple times a week. These are one of the difficult conversations that couples need to have is that if you're in a relationship and it's important to you to have something beyond just companionship, then keeping chemistry alive and attraction alive and your sex lives alive is important and takes attention.
What are the best ways to do that?
The least sexy thing is being stressed out all the time. That's not when we're hot, is when we're stressed. So if we're chronically stressed, what's happening? Are we not giving to ourselves? Are we not filling our cup? Are we not exercising? Are we not resting? Are we not talking to someone? So we have to take care of our emotional and mental well-being. That's very, very important because when we do, we're more energized. And when we're more energized, we bring that energy to a relationship and it's sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Also having passion outside of the relationship. Like the hottest thing is seeing the person that you're into, that you're in a relationship with, in their element. It could be like, I was talking to my friend, she's like, I'm most attracted to my husband when we're traveling because that's when he's really a great traveler. He takes control. He speaks multiple languages. They travel overseas. So he just moves through the nuance of international travel so gracefully. And she's like, that's when he's hottest to me. You're doing things that are enhancing that you get to see that, and I think every couple, and it's different for every single one, but every couple has to navigate the dance between togetherness and separateness, time together, but also time apart. Yeah. And it has to work for both people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big part of compatibility, actually, is that unspoken agreement about how amount of time feels apart feels good, like it makes the heart grow fonder versus not.
I saw on Instagram, it was John Gottman talking about that the things that worked 50 years ago in a relationship are really a lot of the same things that still work today. I feel like the landscape of relationships is getting tested and challenged. We look at like open relationships or polyamory or I don't know. There's just like there's so many phrases, words, letters, names. So what is it that is like the fundamentals and what is it that still works? And what do you see maybe changing and being part of the future of relationships that's going to be a good add-in that's new?
We put so much stock in romantic relationships now. It's like, I need you to be my soulmate. Like people 50 years ago weren't looking for a soulmate.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need you to be my best friend, my confidant, my this and that. And I think we just put so much stock in romantic relationships, and really we need to have multiple sources of love around us. So that would be one thing change that I think that, we have to adapt to a little bit, but also the pitfall is that now people are like searching for the one and they want this perfect person to check all the boxes and meet all their needs. It's impossible to meet each other's needs all the time. The basics is just be kind to each other. The basics is communication. The basics is listen to one another. The basics is have quality time together. For some people, raise a family together, accepting each other fundamentally for who the other person is. When you look at really successful relationships, and I measure successful relationships as two people who really like each other and love each other, they're not perfect, but they really, really like each other. And they still want to have sex with each other. Maybe not like it was in the beginning. That doesn't last forever, but they're still attracted, and they really just, they laugh together. They have a good time together. They move through, they have challenges, but they're not constantly in a state of challenge. Those people, they are just really good friends to each other, and they accept each other 100%. That doesn't mean that they accept or tolerate shitty behavior. No. But they fundamentally, they're like, oh, this is your thing. This is your weakness. Like, this is my weakness. Like, I'm not judging you for that. I love you for that. If I'm going to judge you for that, then we're not right for each other.
Why is it that we always want our partner to be just like us?
It's really a big problem, because you don't, it's like, it would be so boring. We have to celebrate the differences. Like, there has to be, like, you need friction to create fire. So if you're just too much of the same, after a while, you don't want to sleep with too much of the same.
Sure. I think Gottman even says that the amount of friction, there's like a perfect percent. There's a really successful ratio for like good to bad communication.
But you have to also understand that a relationship is the sum of its parts. So it's like, if a relationship's not going well, what are the two people in the relationship not doing well? And some people, and I've been there before, so it's not a judgment, but it's something that people need to be aware of and reflect on. And that is, some people, they have a really bad habit of just being critical, or they have a really bad habit of wanting to control, or they have a really bad habit of whatever it is.
The more I judge myself, the more I judge someone else.
Yes, 100%.
Like, it's just such a reflection. Like, totally. The more, like, I used to judge people for being lazy a lot because
you're a perfectionist.
And I would never sit around. And so the more I give myself permission to rest, the more I now look at someone resting instead of being lazy, right? Like, it always seems like it just comes back to the self.
Yes. And that would be sort of like the shadow work, like the things that really trigger us in someone else is the thing that we are so divorced from in our lives. And the funny thing about relationships is that let's say the super type A personality might be attracted to the really easygoing, go with the flow person, because they have something in them that they wish they had inside themselves. Or maybe it is inside themselves, but they've repressed it. And so they're attracted to that. But if you don't actually acknowledge it in yourself, if you don't actually then rest, then you're just constantly going to see that then that go with the flow person that you were so attracted to in the beginning now becomes like the thorn on your side. But if you can then learn how to go with the flow, if you can learn how to rest, then you can appreciate more what this person brings to the relationship.
We live a lot longer, so a relationship's really supposed to last a lifetime.
I don't know. Probably not. I think it depends at what point in your life you begin the relationship.
Is there a reframe just needed for relationships ending instead of calling them failing? Because as we grow and evolve, it can be beautiful to it's always beautiful when you grow and evolve in a positive way. There's no guarantee that's going to be with that person. But we look at every time a relationship ends and we look at like, what's wrong with me? We're in a day and age where people are going to start to live to 120.
I know, it's kind of nuts, right? Look, there are lots of people who stay together for 50 years and they're miserable. I mean, I see that as a bigger failure.
Why?
Well, because why is that a success? Just because you lasted, you were miserable and making each other miserable.
So the failure is not saying yes to yourself and your own happiness.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's a slippery slope.
Or being honest.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope because look, there are people who give up too soon and there are people who stay too long. And the only thing you can do is know what your pattern is. Some people come into our lives and they're meant to wake us up. Some people come into our lives and they're meant to just like get us through a difficult part in our lives.
Sure.
Some people come into our lives and they're just meant to be like, they're just meant to be a chapter, not many. And that doesn't mean that because it ended, that's a failure. I think that the hardest thing is hanging on to people who really so clearly are just meant to be a chapter. And it's very hard. Look, love is very irrational.
Something a little while back, a couple months ago, that maybe I read it, watched it, that chemistry is actually a symptom of a trauma. And I'm like, I am going to stay in trauma forever then, because
I don't agree with
no
that.
way I'm stepping into a relationship where I'm not really feeling it, but like, they're
No,
nice.
I don't agree with that statement at all.
Thank
I think it's
God. Tell
false.
me why. Tell everyone why chemistry is important.
Well, first of all, chemistry is mostly is hormones and neurotransmitters. That's basically what it is. It's smell, it's pheromones, it's whatnot. Now, if your pattern is to only be attracted to people who abuse you in one form or another, the chemistry that you're having with people is a result of your trauma. If you're only having chemistry with people who don't abuse you, but it ends up just not being right, well, you have to, it's your chemistry is not necessarily due to trauma, but it needs to be matured.
It's like your chemistry is off, so you're attracting the wrong thing. So
you're attracted to the wrong thing. So in other words, it's like, okay, when I said women are attracted to strength. And so we're talking heteronormatively right now, but I also know a lot of gay women who are attracted to strength, but let's just stick with this. So women are attracted to strength. Let's stick with the woman and the man, because this is what I see the most. This is an example that I'm about to share when it comes to chemistry. Oh, he's got broad shoulders. He's got a good job. He's got a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a bad boy edge. He's strong. I'm attracted. But what she needs to see is that you want to be attracted to mental strength and someone who can actually, not just the mental strength, emotional strength, someone who will protect you. And that's very important. You don't know that until you actually get to know someone. How many times have you seen walking down the street an absolutely stunningly beautiful model level, like amazing looking woman with a man who's really unattractive? And people will say, well,
definitely more common that direction.
Yeah, it's more common that direction than the other way, right? Why? Oh, well, she's a gold digger. No, she feels safe with that man.
If you like this clip and you want to hear the whole episode, click at the bottom of your screen.